Hey folks, welcome. Dress Down Friday today on Daily Chaos, and we're talking about it's a good weekend to bury bad news, care of the suspension. If you're watching an archive version, then you might want to fast forward by about 12-13 minutes, I've started streaming early because, just why not? Just fast forward about, I don't know, 12 minutes, something like that. Otherwise, coming up at 7, folks. 7 GMT. It's a good weekend to bury bad news. You can call in on guv.li/rant. Please do. Tell us what you want to know. So it says 7 on Facebook and on YouTube, and hopefully on Action Curve. I need to sort that out. Helen Smith, can you hear me? Helen.
Yes.
Hey, whoa. Brilliant. We're making progress. Hey?
I finally found my little Discord face.
You're very quiet, but we'll work that out.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, no, it's not you. It's me, actually. It's me. Yeah, no, that's right. Oh, what's the top? Hey?
Olly, should I stay where I am, love?
Yeah, you stay there. That's great. Thank you. Lovely.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Hey, yippee. Great. My son found the little face that says Discord.
Did he? Good. Good. Oh,
yeah,
blimey.
no, he's gone out to get drunk. Yeah.
Oh, good. All right.
He said, Mum, I give up with you. I'm locking you in tonight.
All right. Good.
I've been in work.
Sorry, Helen. Sorry, I didn't expect that.
I said I've been at work. I've been at work all day. I had to catch up from yesterday when I had all that chaos on the group thing keep flying down the. Because I got a new phone.
Yeah. Somebody put you on a group and caught you by surprise. I noticed that.
I was livid because I was trying to do messages and things.
Oh dear.
And trying to get on Discord and stuff, and I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it.
People are naughty.
I saw you were on there as well.
Yeah. They put loads of us on that group. They did. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I tell you what.
Hey,
I do. Beverly said, "Elle, you blocked yourself off of Daily Brexit by mistake." Oh wow! I'll put you back on.
Did you really? Oh dear. You blocked. I did. You left the wrong group. Oh.
Yeah, I know. I tried to get rid of that, whatever it was, that came shooting down ball after ball with people's messages and thumbs and God knows what. It was driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Bad day getting this phone.
This is better than the show, isn't it? It's better than the show. Helen, look, I'll see you at the top of the hour. For God's sake, I've got to sort myself out, girl.
I'm not moving. I am not moving, Olly. I'm staying put.
All right, good.
I'll see you later then, yeah? I'll hear you later then.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Lovely. I'm glad I finally got on. Tell the rest just in case I disappear.
Remarkable.
Accidentally, but I'll find you. Trial and error.
You can't get the guess. All right. Yeah, good, huh? Yeah. Still confused here.
Every time you go quiet, my heart stops.
Hey?
Every time you go quiet, my heart stops.
Oh.
Like, oh no, I've lost it.
No, we're still there. We got Jeff here too. Predator Jeff.
Yeah, well, all I've got is the front of my phone saying what the time is. So it just shot up. But I've still got you. That's the main thing.
Good.
Evening, Ollie. Evening, Helen.
Yeah.
Hello.
How you doing, darling? Are you all right?
Yeah, I finally found Discord. Well, after how long?
Well, this is nice.
All your time.
There in the end. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
but
all there.
I was confused because the little face went on the front of my phone. And then it appeared, yes.
Yeah.
And so I was on Facebook and they kept cutting us off.
Well, that's what they do. That's what
Well, I
they do.
think it's about time free speech, my foot. We pay to go on there.
Hey?
Well, they say about free speech and they're banning us this, that and t'other, but we pay to use Facebook.
Hold on. We haven't clocked on yet. Two minutes.
I know. I'm just muttering, don't take any
It's all right.
notice.
It's all right. That's what we do.
I just want to make sure I don't lose you.
This will get you in the spirit, Helen. This will get you in the spirit.
Oh, I'm just doing all right.
Jeff's having a biggie. Blimey. Sorry, the music isn't falling. It's copyright free, yeah? Oh my god, it's absolutely obstructing. I'll tell you what, it's a Friday, yeah. Let's put this on. At least this is a bit better. Okay, just, yeah.
At
coming
least
up.
I know there's life
Two-
on Earth, yeah?
2 minutes, Helen.
I'm not, don't worry, Ollie, just don't go away.
It's all right, I'm around.
I'm all right, honestly. I just don't want you to go away. This is a first for me, isn't it? Well, sort of.
Yeah.
Huh.
Gets
when
about,
you
though.
set it
Gets
up,
about.
Discord is the place.
Jesus. Hold on. Oh, we're nearly late. Yeah, that's all right. Got a bit late.
I think we've got aliens coming in on the channel now.
Yeah? Go on.
Yeah. Some guy, some numpty came on late last night on Facebook and asked me if I could teach him English. I thought, what the hell are you talking about? I don't even know yet.
Blimey.
Didn't already been.
Yeah.
I don't know where he came from.
Helen,
How did that bubble of all that fruit?
you got to be careful out there.
I ain't going there.
You might get accosted by Mark Childs or something if you're not careful.
Oh my god. Not him. Oh please no.
Poor old Mark Charles.
I remember that. I remember
Where's
that. I remember it well.
Hey? Oh.
I remember
Look.
that.
I'll tell you what, should we just start this thing? Let's just start this damn
Yeah,
thing.
you
I'll
do
tell you what,
that,
I don't know
Ollie.
what's
I'll
going on
just
with that.
leave
That
it.
track doesn't finish, does it? Right. Oh.
Okay.
Excuse me. Right.
I will.
I need that. Good.
Great.
Evening all. And welcome to the Daily Chaos.
Yeehaw!
The show ain't daily, but the chaos is. I'm Olly Connelly, thanks for turning up.
Are they there, Ollie?
Yeah, we're here now, Helen. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Helen Askew-Smith. We got Brother Jeff here on Discord too. You can call in on guv.li/rant. Evening, people.
Don't you start confusing me again.
It's West Down
it's getting hard to
Friday,
control
isn't it,
this
Ollie?
And now, a good weekend to bury bad news.
BRINO.
And the tally so far, before Jim's mates even catch a glimpse of the choir boys, the Maybot is set to announce BRINO, including transition extension. That'll happen. I reckon it will. They're breathing it. Italy forms Eurosceptic government. Could topple the EU. How's that? How's that?
That's what I like to see.
It wasn't the deadliest nerve agent after all. Just more lies. Ah, actually, that did top the 6 o'clock news, I have to say, on BBC. I have to say, it did. Amazing. But the Catholic bishops didn't. The Catholic bishops didn't in Peru. This is a great weekend to bury bad news. FIFA rigs the ultimate distraction, the Plebs Cup final. How's that for a distraction? Yeah, royal wedding. Never mind FIFA. Don't worry, folks. You've got your football. You've got your football.
I'm afraid Brexit
FIFA rigged the World Cup final, people. 1998.
Brexit's going to be about as real as global warming, I think.
I'll tell you what. They are gonna. This is. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? It was that Blair, one of Campbell's spinmeisters, who said on 9/11 itself, "This is a good day to bury bad news," and that is exactly what we have here. Yeah, this is the perfect weekend to bury bad news. So, where do we start, folks? Helen, where do we start?
Well, the good news is I've seen some Union Jacks, and that's all to do with the wedding.
Oh,
I'm a bit
blimey.
worried about the red carpet thing, in case people get down on it and decide to pray. Because I just had a dream about it, and it wasn't a pretty sight. And but it was nice to see the flags. It was nice to see people happy. It was nice to see it British. But that's it. After tomorrow, back to doldrums, I suppose.
Well,
Yeah, but they'll be milking this at least into next week, won't they? They'll be milking.
Well, it's better than all the blooming bad news and lies we get told.
Oh, they'll probably prioritise stories about the VIP parking arrangements in Windsor over something like,
No
you know,
politicians.
the Catholic bishops
No
in
pol-
Peru. Hey?
No politicians at the wedding at all, anywhere from.
Oh, yeah, really? No, just the
Yeah,
people
that's-
that control
that's
the
what I keep saying.
politicians will be at the wedding, I suppose.
I've got some good news and I've got some bad news for you, Ollie. I'll give
Go
you
on.
the bad news first.
Go on, Jeff.
Both your legs are going to have to be amputated because you've got a gangrene in them. The good news is the guy in the next bed wants to buy your shoes.
Awful.
Oh dear.
That's absolutely dreadful, mate. Is that the best you
Oh,
can
just-
do?
I could tell
No, I
lots,
could
but
do-
I
I
could
could do far worse than that.
Gonna have to do better than that, mate. Right, John Middleton says units of electricity, they get paid imaginary digitalis screen. John Middleton, who is the most difficult commentator to decipher of all of you. Stav Woodcutter says hi. And John Middleton also says, I can't teach English. Can't even speak. It's called Babble Bubble, made up of all other languages accumulated over years and years and years. Thank you, John. William Davis. So, no sound, Ollie. Is it me? I think it is you. I think it is you, William, on YouTube. Yeah, okay. And Stav's having a laugh at you, Jeff, at your bloody awful joke, mate. It's 7:01, says Jane Middleton. I think she's ticking me off being a bit late. Yeah. So anyway.
6 minutes.
So, okay, right. Let's have a look and see what's going on and see what fake streams, how they're covering it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I'll put it on. There we go. It's on both now. It's on both. I need to sort it out with Axiom Curb, don't I? The stream there. Jeff, do you know the deal? Do I need to sort out an embed code for Axiom Curb? Has PJ mentioned anything to you?
Just to use to use Jitsi?
Oh no, that's another thing again. Yeah, you mentioned that last night. I made a note. I've got it right here. Yeah, use Jitsi and then stream from there to Facebook. That's an option. Okay, all right. We'll talk later anyway. Right. So papers today. Go on. Hey.
It streams to YouTube, not to Facebook, but live streams on YouTube. Apparently, if you do the Jitsi thing.
Right. Okay.
I ain't moving. I'm staying put.
Oh, there's been a nasty plane accident. Just Boeing 737 airliner from Cuba's state airline Cubana de Aviación has crashed and exploded near Jose Marti International Airport in Havana.
Oh my!
That's not very nice.
Cuba, isn't it?
So, okay, today's papers were Groniad, May struggles for EU support after push to break impasse on Brexit. So we're getting this story from all sorts of angles here, and it's really hard to know, all these months and years after the referendum, for God's sake, what is actually going on here with regard to this bloody customs union. I've told you my suspicions at the top of the show, and those suspicions are basically what Telegraph was saying earlier, and we'll see their headline probably in a minute. May concedes on tie to customs union is FT until Irish border resolved. Well, she reckons she's got an interim plan for that. She was also saying today. The Sun, yeah, guess what? And she's sad about Dad and Metro and Mail and Times, who also are saying that hundreds more troops are planned for Afghanistan to protect the opium. I don't know what various assets. And it's all and bookies. Britain on collision course with US. UK lines up with rest of Europe in defiance of Trump's crackdown on Iran. This is another thing that's obviously still going on. Standoff throws future of transatlantic relations into doubt. Question mark over UK's post-Brexit pivot towards America. British consortium signs major deal to develop Iranian oil field. US prepares to punish European firms who deal with Tehran. And there's EU interest, there's British interest, all sorts of interest.
Why does everybody want to be at war?
Another shooting. Another shooting at a school, Santa Fe, Texas. Cuba plane crash developing. All right. And the Trump in DOJ, Department of Justice is now chucking the book of them, and aren't they? They're out to frame me, says Trump. President backs claims of at least one FBI representative spying on him in 2016. But Giuliani admits we don't know if it's true, but this whole thing is still obviously rambling on. And Mueller, it's been a year. That's the other story that's in here somewhere, probably on Drudge, the Mueller deal. But but this is the weekend, isn't it? This is the weekend. This is what we're faced with this weekend, probably well into next week as well, if they can milk it. And so build a graph. Time until the royal wedding, 16 hours, 48 minutes. Jesus, I mean, what about time until Brexit? What about time until Brexit, Helen.
Ireland.
We're going to hear for the next 6 months, innit, about the royal wedding. Oh, God help us, I want to bark.
Well, presumably it'll die down when they've gone on their honeymoon, but it's going to be into the week, isn't it?
Been having one.
Yeah,
And it's been weeks. It's been what? Months. It's been what? 2 months solid, if not 3. And it's been 6 months of a lot. Way too much. Bloody
Yes, I
annoying.
agree.
I mean, Brussels likely to reject Theresa May's plan to keep Britain tied to the EU customs rules. Now, that was this morning, yeah. I wonder what's happened since, really. But we're so in the dark over this. And this is absolutely disgusting. And they got a countdown clock to the bloody royal bloody wedding, which we're paying for. 30 million, apparently. That's what they're letting on for. Kicking the homeless out of Windsor and all that. Go on.
Apparently, it's something like £56,000 for their cake.
Really?
Yes.
Something like 56 grand for the bloody cake.
It would have been. Would it not have been more tactful if they just gone off and had a quiet ceremony, or done it in Balmoral, maybe, or Mexico? You know, on a ship. Mars. They could have taken the Tesla. I don't know. Brussels is likely to reject Theresa May's plan to keep Britain tied to EU customs rules beyond 2021. Beyond 2021. Now, this is the extension that I was talking about, yeah. The extension to the transition deal. Because it believes, Brussels believes, the backstop clause to prevent a hard Irish border can only apply to Northern Ireland and not the whole UK. The European Commission has always understood it is applying to Northern Ireland only. An EU source told The Telegraph it has always said that Northern Ireland is a unique situation. What the bloody hell's it got to do with it? The EU, Northern Ireland. We're leaving. We voted to quit. Yeah, you ask the DUP what they think about that.
I'll tell you what, Ollie, I'm sick to death of speculating about Brexit. To be honest.
Yeah,
It's just to wear us down, grind them down into submission so that they accept this customs union fudge.
Well,
that's what they're doing, though.
May is saying, 1 minute she's saying, we're going to hard Brexit. We're not going to mess about. We're going to have a short, fast-tracked transition period, and we're going to get the hell out. Sort of thing, and then next minute there's something else, and then something else. They keep chopping and changing like the bloody weather.
Down. I had a lady in my surgery the other day. She was really depressed, an old lady, aged lady, and I could tell she was depressed. She came in for something else anyway.
Helen's a nurse. Go on.
She was upset that she thought that she was living too long and causing the country to spend money on her on the NHS. Poor little soul.
Oh.
Seriously. Anyway, I calmed her down and got the doctor over to my office and we sorted it out. When I left work, I took her over some chocolates and some flowers and I know she likes crosswords. And I've been popping in and out to see her on my way to and fro work. And she's much better now, but she said, I'm living too long. I'm costing you money here. I said, goodness me. You only came in to have a dressing done, dear. Oh, she's laughing now. She's okay. I keep popping by when I go through that way. Yeah, bless her little heart.
Okay, she's there at the moment.
She's at home in her place, and I arranged for twilight nurses to go in and Meals on Wheels for her and things like that, and to make sure because she's on her own. And I felt so sorry for her.
How old is she, Helen?
She's about 78, something like that. But that's not old.
Yeah, that's not too old.
Yeah, but she said she thinks that she's costing the country too much money because she's she's so old and it's her fault. And people like her.
Do you think do you think, Helen, that there is an element of the elderly generation who actually are kind of sold on this propaganda that's been coming out largely from the BBC to say that this generation, needs to, they have too much importance, for example, in the vote, and they talk about the referendum, don't they? And that campaign, you might remember, the BBC, they had a debate for young people specifically, including people that couldn't even vote, that didn't have the right, because presumably they didn't have the wisdom, and but they had no debate for elderly people. They had no debate for, black people specifically or white people specifically. They had a debate for young people, and they were actively promoting the idea that elderly people and maybe even shouldn't have the vote after a certain age and things like this. The BBC was, the campaign. I just wonder, Helen, if this has permeated any of this, frankly, propaganda, and horrid ideology.
They believe it. I sat and listened to her and that, and like I said, we got her all sorted out. And I was telling Chris Ford about it back when it happened over the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And that, and she was, quite taken back with it as well, and that. But I popped in to see her today when I was on my way home from work, because I'm only 5 minutes from the health centre where I work now, and I had to catch up on some work from yesterday because I wasn't there, and I popped in to see if she was all right, and she's happy as Larry now. Yeah, Twilight nurses going in.
What do you think? What do you think, Jeff? What do you think about that? Do you think that elderly people have been unfairly pilloried? And maybe, do you think that maybe there's some sort of an effect from that coming through? Or
what do you mean, pilloried? What do you mean by that?
Well, I thought that there was a lot of ageism shown in the referendum campaign. And I think that there is a tone, a sort of an underlying tone now on BBC programming, particularly, frankly, which is that younger people need to be listened to more and elderly people less.
You got it.
They want younger people listened to more, obviously, because there's a sort of left-wing bias, isn't there? I think most young people I think most of them are Remainers.
They're being used as a tool. They're being used as a way to prise open this Marxism.
Well, most of us old folks are Leave voters, I think, and most of the young ones are Remainers. Yeah. And that's probably there's definitely a bias, and they've definitely been working on the young people to brainwash them in schools and things. Students indoctrinated heavily by by all these common purpose graduates and things.
House of Lords has got a lot of old people in it.
You what? Sorry, Helen?
I said the House of Lords have got plenty of old people.
Yeah, they do. They do. They are a generation that I imagine the BBC would like to retain their influence.
I think the BBC is an outdated bloody organisation that needs to be got rid of, abolished completely. I really do. The BBC is absolutely abysmal.
The BBC or BBC News?
Well, the BBC in general, I think they're absolutely abysmal channel. That's especially the BBC News, but I think they're biased. They've welched on their own charter, which is for being an unbiased, impartial news source and everything else. I think the whole blooming thing is a disgrace. I think they should be abolished. They should be got rid of. And if they are going to keep the BBC, I think it should be license free. They've had the monopoly bloody long enough, and they should do what all the other channels do and advertise for their money. They can go and whistle, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm having a look at their homepage just to see how they're covering things coming into this massive distraction of a weekend. And they are covering the Texas school shooting, of course. They're on their agenda to get guns banned anyway, after all. But of course, that is terrible, though. Of course, they've got the Cuban air crash there in the top. Prince Charles to walk Meghan down the aisle is the only story in their top stories of their top 5 concerning the royal weekend at the moment. US abortion. Just okay.
He's having enough problems.
BBC News, running on the Texas school shooting. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, basically anything to distract from what really affects the locals, huh? I mean, now this is BBC News. Presumably it's a UK thing. Yeah, sure. This is terrible. The Texas thing, it would be a headline. It should be a headline. The Boeing crash too. But after that, and Israel, what happened there is pretty damn big too, frankly. Whatever your thoughts on it, a lot of people died. And I see nothing here about Brexit at all. I see nothing about this betrayal that we're going to see this weekend that's going on now, that they have been leading us into all week, which is this alternative customs union deal that Theresa May is going to put to Barnier, or already has, for all we know.
Yeah.
That was due to today. He apparently is going to turn around and say no or something and want more concessions still. But basically, she is going to say, apparently, according to the Telegraph, that one of the things that we will agree to is an extension to the transition deal, as befits, this arrangement. That ain't Brexit. That ain't Brexit at all. It wasn't Brexit. As soon as the transition deal was arranged, it wasn't Brexit. But a lot of people would argue it wasn't Brexit as soon as we just didn't void the 72 ECA. And as soon as we went for the Article 50 clause enactment instead, a lot of people would say that wasn't Brexit either. But and indeed, some people would say that there shouldn't be any Brexit because we're never actually in there legally. But the point is that the BBC isn't covering this at all on their news. Guess what? And that's the thing that's affecting us. No, folks, right now, that's what we need to know. 17.4 million people voted to leave the EU. We're on the verge. The Prime Minister right now is calculating how she can prevent that. And they're covering everything but here on the front page, the visible front page of BBC News on their website. And I've got 1, 2, 3 pictures of bloody royals, frankly. I mean, no disrespect to them as human beings, but just a bloody distraction. Sorry. Okay,
Olly,
I'm having a go.
For decades,
It's a lot of money.
Olly, for decades now. Sorry. For decades now, the BBC has failed to put out any anti-EU sentiment because they are thoroughly 100% pro-EU, and all their stuff is filtered through the Siemens transmission network. So it filters out anything that's anti-European Union. So it's completely biased. And as far as I'm concerned, they've gone against their so-called impartial charter. So
it's actually illegal for journalists, BBC or whatever, under EU law to criticise the EU. Right, it's illegal under EU law. They can lose they can be struck off the National Union of Journalists and stuff like that if they criticise the EU.
That's very Soviet tactics, isn't it? Like the
It's
old
incredible.
Soviet.
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely beggars belief, doesn't it?
They're saying that during the referendum, they forgot about Ireland.
They forgot about Ireland. Ireland wasn't part
They
of
just
the,
remembered there's Ireland there.
They didn't forget about Ireland. Ireland wasn't an issue.
That's what they've said.
We didn't make it an issue. It was after the referendum that the EU made it an issue.
Yeah,
it's just been completely politicised, no? Got absolutely nothing to do with the border. It's just not an issue.
The referendum was only for the UK and Gibraltar, apparently. So,
And even Gibraltar, incredibly, I don't know. Gibraltar's more complicated, isn't it? For them, I guess. I don't know. We don't hear much about that, really. But I mean, so far as Northern Ireland is concerned, it was not brought up, no, during the campaign, but so many things weren't brought up. We weren't even presented with any EU presidents to debate on the stage there with the others to tell us what they could do for us and what they were actually doing for us and how they could justify the bloody wine cellar.
Well, there you go.
Why did we not have a single one rolled out into a debate about whether or not we should put our sovereignty, give it to these guys? Why on earth was none of them rolled out?
They did it all underhand over many years.
That's right, they did.
Thought we were in the common market.
It is all foisted on us. It was supposed to be originally just a trading arrangement.
And all the governments were in on it.
Ed Heath turned around and said there'd be no loss of national sovereignty, and that turned out to be a complete pack of lies.
Then the Magna Carta thing.
Yeah.
And and it took them about 40 years, and they said that by the time this this chart or whatever it is shown to people or it comes out, it'll be too late then because we'll be in the EU.
I think that's been the intentions all along, hasn't it?
Well, that's what they've done, isn't it? That's what it's done. They've taken 40 years and quite slyly took us into the EU. But I don't think it's even legal. I don't know. But that's what they say. It's not legal.
Well, I don't see how it can be legal when, as Stav says, EEC Ted Pedo Heath lied his backside off, and he did, didn't he?
Yeah, on his yacht.
Well, it's not lawful. It might be legal, but it's not lawful.
In fact, you know what they're doing on the BBC have got a piece of some film on Jeremy Thorpe on the murder trial, on the murder that Jeremy Thorpe allegedly committed or whatever, and the judge famously led the jury and told them basically to let him off. And there was a brilliant Peter Cook sketch on that. Oh, check that out. The judge sketch. Peter Cook judge sketch. YouTube that. It is so funny. It's hilarious. And particularly if you know a bit about the Jeremy Thorpe trial. And Jeremy Thorpe was on there on the plinth with Ted Heath, wasn't he? Lauding the EEC. And anyway, but there's the BBC. I wonder how they're going to spin that in this drama. I wonder how they're going to spin it. But Jeremy Thorpe, very liberal leader, wasn't he? He was one of the best prime minister that we never had, sort of thing. A lot of people reckoned he was.
He was a bastard, wasn't he?
Well, he was an alleged murderer and a very dodgy character, and another one, like another dodgy character, Ted Heath, who was trying to get us into the EC. And we had Tim Fortescue, and I might as well play the clip. I'll play the clip again. Why not? Ted Heath's chief whip, who said, you know what, we get MPs who are depraved, who need to cover something up, and it could even be child rape, it could even be paedophilia, and we'll cover it up for them. And in exchange, they vote with the government, That's how we oil the rails of democracy. I'm paraphrasing. You listen to what he said. Ted Heath's whip, one of his whips, who worked alongside in the same office, shared desks with Kenneth Clark, This is Tim Fortescue, who was speaking on the BBC. And now it doesn't want to play. Now it doesn't want to play after all that. Would you believe it? Oh, what a pain.
Well,
I'll try and find the clip. I'll try and find the clip. But
Ollie, it sort of shows that they're all perverts, really, when they go on about whips and things, doesn't it? Because, like, if you think about it, it probably all necrophiliac, bestiality and bondage. Because when you're dealing with politicians, you're flogging a dead horse. Get it?
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? It really makes you wonder.
Yes, indeedy.
I'll see if I can find this. Clip. But
careful, Ollie, as I cut you off.
I have had a few problems with some of the technical stuff just recently, as you can hear. In fact,
we've all had it.
Here we go. Oh, there we go.
Last night was a nightmare.
Now then, could be one of these.
In Facebook prison.
Bear with me, folks. Just one sec. There we go. Here we go. This is Tim Fortescue,
Anyone with any sense who was in trouble would come to the whips. And anyone with any sense who was in trouble would come to the whips and tell them the truth and say, no, I'm in a jam. Can you help? It might be debt. It might be scandal involving small boys, or any kind of scandal which a member seemed likely to be mixed up in. They'd come and ask if we could help. And if we could, we did. And we would do everything we can, because we would store up brownie points. That sounds a pretty nasty reason, but it's one of the reasons. Is if we can get a chap out of trouble, then he'll do as we ask forevermore.
And one of the people caught up in this VIP paedophile ring, we know, was Jimmy Savile. And Jimmy Savile was introduced into the royal family by Louis Mountbatten, who there are theories was blown up by the IRA because of what he did to little boys at, I think, Kilcairn in Northern Ireland, that boys' home. But I don't know the truth of those allegations. Yeah, I don't know the truth of that. I know that he had dandruff because they found his head and shoulders on the beach, apparently. But I don't know the truth about. Anyway, and he introduced Jimmy Savile to Prince Philip, didn't he? And they were pretty pally. And in turn, he was introduced to Prince Charles and actually became the marital advisor to Charles and Diana. That's how close he was, embedded like a tick into that family. And Charlie Boy is walking the bride up the aisle. So that's nice, isn't it? I doubt that David Dimbleby will be mentioning that in the commentary. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. What a disgrace. The law means nothing in this country, says Maureen Smith.
True.
And Stav Woodcutter says they legally kill people all the time, like the Liverpool Care Pathway, for instance.
Yeah.
Blimey. Okay, bit of an aside here, Helen. What would you say to that as a nurse?
What's that?
Well, Stav here says they legally kill people all the time, like the Liverpool Care Pathway, for instance.
Well, it happens. I wouldn't kill anybody, Ollie.
I know you wouldn't.
If I saw anybody being ill-treated in the hospital or anywhere, I certainly would say and do something about it.
There was a massive scandal about the Liverpool.
I don't know what they said to me.
There was a massive scandal about the Liverpool care pathways where people were being left dehydrated, basically.
Oh, yes. I remember something about that, yes.
Starving, dehydrated.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Treated bad. Really whipped around and that.
Totally neglected, and
totally neglected, yeah.
So, okay, right. Well, that was a bit of an... What I want to know, though, really, what I want to know is, do we deserve an explanation from the future king as to his association with a serial paedophile, rapist of incapacitated patients, and serial necrophiliac?
Jesus.
Well, I think so. Not only that, he goes and says
we shouldn't even be having to ask.
Should we be informed as to the reality of that relationship, or should we just be happy that we're spending all of this dosh on making sure that the guy isn't shot in a wedding ceremony, which is clogging up an otherwise really nice market town, and basically allowing people to get on with their lives and not being distracted by a family which, for all we know, is actually satanic in nature. I mean, I have no idea. And I know this sounds awful, and I know that a lot of royalists watch this program, for example, but I think we deserve to have an explanation as to the relationship between this family and Jimmy Savile, who I do wonder if he was involved in Satanism. Some of the stuff that went on at Jersey Outgaren, which he visited, for example, which, as I understand, Ted Heath was in the whereabouts of. I don't know whether he actually went to it. They found bones there in sacrificial, all sorts of things, horrid stuff, when they closed that place down. Bill Maloney put together a heartfelt documentary about it, like Devil's Island or something, I think he called it. But yeah, I think we need an explanation, though. Maureen Smith, yes, we do need an explanation from anybody in association with Jimmy Savile. Prince Charles used to go and see this guy and kind of hang out with him at his hunting lodge or whatever it was that he had, his hideaway in Scotland. Jimmy Savile's hideaway. Apparently with other people involved and stuff, that Charles said they were good fun or something. Really nice. I don't know. Just very, very odd. They were way too close for comfort, no?
Ollie, there's something very wrong in our society when we even have to ask these questions. I mean, people that are in positions of influence and power, I mean, they're supposed to be bloody squeaky clean, aren't they? And they're completely the opposite. The mind boggles. It really does.
I agree.
Emma Ward says, sorry I'm late, evening all. Emma, you're very late. We've got Chrissy Morris popped in too. Chrissy, what would you like to say?
Evening, Chrissy.
You're muted, Chrissy, so you have to unmute yourself. John Middleton says, the species' existence only exists on paper to only work in work, bro. John, I'll tell you what, mate, you ain't half full of riddles. Stab Woodcutter, they legally kill people all the time. Yeah, we had that. And it's quiet. It's a quiet Friday, I got to say. Everyone's gearing up for the royal wedding or something. Are you having any street parties, people?
That'll be funny.
Only if one of them was getting executed.
Chrissy Morris is here. Chris, what would you like to say? What would you like to say?
I just thought I'd join in, guys. Evening, folks. How you all doing?
Hi, Chris.
Hiya.
Hello.
Very good.
Hello.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Microphone.
Very good.
I think I'm having mic problems.
No, you're okay.
Hello?
Get a bit closer to it, but we can hear you. We can hear you, Chris.
Yeah, how you doing, folks? You all right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, good. Can you hear us?
Royal wedding coming up. Keeping everyone on, eyes peeled on the telly. Trouble is, all the stuff that's going to be happening, during and after. We've got the, they're passing new fracking laws, sending more troops to Afghanistan.
That's right. Hold on a sec. Those fracking laws, is it not the case that they want to make it that you do not need planning permission to open up a drill site?
I believe
Yes.
so. I think they're saying that they don't need permission.
I read about this. That's right. Another distraction, well, another example of a really important story that people should be talking about that's completely avalanched. So is that it? Is that it, Chris? I mean, that's enormous as it is. Is there anything else to that story?
I haven't really had time to look into it, folks, to be honest, so I wouldn't want to comment too much. But the point I'd like to make on that one is that Prince Charles ain't having his land fracked. He successfully, has got him away from his little lot. So it's one of them things, again, where, it's good enough for the people, but not good enough for the, for the royalty.
What do you mean his land? What, the Duchy of Cornwall, the entirety of Cornwall and his estate, or what?
The Duchy of Cornwall's land, apparently, they're not going to be able to frack under or even explore. So the things that the royals have got stay untouched, whilst all us poor peasants.
That's the case with the Duchy of Lancaster for the Queen as well, then, is it?
Oh, strange that.
I don't know.
Good enough for us, but not good enough for them.
I wonder, and there was a debate a little while ago, and in fact I read a story, and I had no idea whether or not this would be legally verified, but I read a story that the Crown could drill under your property and claim, basically asset strip or whatever. The Queen could do that. I don't know whether she can do it just in the Duchy of Lancaster, whether he can do it just in the Duchy of Cornwall or what. I'll tell you what, do you know this? Let me put something out there, a fact about these duchies that astounds me in this day and age. These two people, when anybody in their duchy dies, intestate, no will, they get the proceeds of the will. Queenie or Charlie, they get the money. They get the dosh. They get all of it. Everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that's right with most wills or most people that don't make a will. Most of their estate, if they've got any, does go straight back to the Treasury, I believe.
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah. But in the case of but at least if it goes to the Treasury, it's supposed to be spent on things like education or something. So we've got more, integrate, more common purpose. But instead of that, if you're in Duchy of Lancaster or Duchy of Cornwall, please get a will, Please get a will. Get a will anyway. But I mean, your money's going to go to these guys. Unbelievable. It's like something out of, I don't know, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Come back, Lauren, to Arabia.
Okay,
Yes.
let's take a few comments. She will divorce him within 6 months. That's Dennis Hopper's verdict. I don't know what he was referring to. I've got no idea. Maureen Smith, chemtrails out all over today. Never seen as many. Wonder if they get chemtrails round the palace.
Well, somebody said that it was a load of rubbish about chemtrails.
Few people do. Many people do. Someone's been on this show and has said it's rubbish. And to be honest with you, I wonder if he gets paid to do it because he says it so eloquently and has such a great case. But all I know is that I remember what I saw in the sky when I was a kid, and I know what I see now, and it ain't the same. These trails, and they vary depending on whether they are chem or confluence. And you can, you know, yeah.
Is it so hard to think that crop dusting hasn't evolved?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Well, I mean, it's
You know
just
what I mean?
it's plain to see. It's plain to see because these lines, which look like enormous lines of cocaine in the sky or something, they go from horizon to horizon, sort of thing. Except that they go around corners and stuff too, because the planes don't, you know, go on a regular route. They circle. They circle over the Med and come back in where I live. And because it's a blue sky, there's very little cloud. You can see them. You can spot them off a mile, so damn clear. And they dissipate slowly, and you see them forming into what becomes a mist across the entire sky. They are not steam confluence trails.
No.
They just aren't.
I seen a documentary earlier on, Ollie, about all this, and they reckon that all this is to lower our immune system, to gradually beat down our immune system, and then eventually they'll release a load of like Spanish flu type stuff that will like literally wipe out most of the population or something.
Yes, and injections as well. Inoculation.
Yeah, vaccines and things like that.
Yeah,
They'll spread it with vaccines. They'll spread it with the chemtrails and all the rest of it. And there'll be like virtually no escape from it. It's all depopulation. Same as fracking. I mean, they're not fracking for, you know, shale gas or whatever. It's rubbish. They're either dumping nuclear toxic waste down into the boreholes, or they're just pumping loads of chemicals into it to poison the water aquifers and all that. And we're all going to end up bloody croaking, I reckon.
When I looked into fracking a little while ago, I found out that the water that they use to flush the gas out of the ground, the frack water, can never ever be consumed by humans ever again. Really? It is literally dead water, and the amount they use, you know, millions of gallons per frack. That water can never be used again.
And that's good water, isn't it? That's good water. I mean, it's not even like it's seawater that they use, is it? They use water that we need.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so ruined that it can never be consumed again. And when you've got so many people in this planet that are without water, that is just vandalism.
It's disgusting. It's highly immoral. Yeah. Highly immoral, Chris, when you put it that way.
Of money.
Pardon?
Water is our life source. No amount of money should, come before, ruining the water we've got on this planet when there's so many people that need it.
But you get companies like Nestle that pump it out of the ground, and fresh water coming out of springs and stuff, and they pay the local council tuppence halfpenny to do it, and then they sell it as bottled water.
Yeah,
Just say something.
Coca-Cola were taking it out of the tap. They were taking it out of the tap, filling bottles of water and selling them. Anyway, sorry, go on.
They've got a new one now called Smart Water. You've got to be really, really clever to think that you're drinking a smart water. So they actually sell the old bottle of Smart Water. Called it Smart Water. People will drink it thinking that it'll make them smarter.
Is there such a thing called smart water?
Yeah. There's a bottle of water now called Smart Water. I don't know if it's still around, but I can remember seeing it in the shop and thinking how many stupid people will buy Smart Water thinking that water will make them smarter because it's called Smart Water.
Jeff, sorry, mate. I spoke over you. What were you going to say, dude?
I was just going to say what we need to do is call things by their proper name. That's the beginning of wisdom. Yeah. And the proper word for it, I believe, is murder. Because if you poison the water aquifers and people's ability to get clean water, it's just blatant murder. That's what it is.
Can I just stop you there? From my corporate point of view, I'd like you to rephrase that, and rather than call it murder, please call it progress.
Well, maybe for them, not for us.
Okay, it's only a digress.
Bloody liberals.
I'm a little bit of a cynic, you see.
Yeah.
Stab Woodcutter says frack water is toxic. They cannot get rid of it. They hold it in great big ponds in the USA. Really? Bloody hell.
They're storing it under the earth. They've taken it to. I done a phone call to them a little while ago. I claim to be a investor. Called Chris Barrington, quite a posh guy, and I basically said to him, sort of like, what you're doing with the water that can never be consumed again. And the guy said, we're taking it to recycling centres. So they're calling it a recycling centre, but it actually is just being put in large pools there to sit there forever, or until they can try and work out a way to clean it, which they've got so far they've had no joy with. It
has to be said, that is progressive, because in China, at Fukushima, they just pump it straight out into the sea.
Well, there's another one.
They cool the plant. It's radioactive water, cesium, God knows what. Chuck it into the sea. And the Pacific, I hate to think. It's
the biggest environmental disaster ever so far, and no one seems to want to remember or even talk about it. I think something silly like 80% of tuna in the world now has got sort of like, an unacceptable level of radioactivity.
Really. I
something
put tuna
like that. Don't quote me.
I put tuna in a curry the other night, and it tasted a bit odd. I don't normally use tuna in a curry. I like prawns in a curry. We had some tuna over, and I put it in, and it didn't taste right. But have you got your Union Jacks? Are you looking forward to the royal wedding?
I would rather stab myself in the eyes with sharp pencils, Ollie.
What else are they covering up? What else is going on that we should be talking about?
So we've got the fracking, we've got the 600. Trump has decided that he can't gamble with his popularity. So he'd like us to send another 600 troops over. So we're going to send 600 troops over to kill or be killed. Or
is it 600? It's 600, is it?
Yep, 600. That's our sons. That's our sons, daughters, whatever else.
So what are we doing there again? Can anybody remember what we're doing there?
I think that I'm on the phone, darling. I think that what he needs is a little bit more control of the heroin trade. Because, as we know, there's a massive heroin problem in the US right now. Afghanistan is the biggest heroin producer. And when the Taliban were in charge over there, heroin production dropped to its lowest point, and now it's almost at its highest ever.
Now, that Henry Bolton character that led UKIP for a while, he got an OBE, didn't he, for protecting the poppy fields? Just saying. He got an OBE for services to security in Afghanistan, and I think he was based in Helmand province. And I think, is that not where the poppy fields are? I don't know. If he wants to come on, I'd love to ask him. I'd love to ask him what I have to say. Hey, go on. Chris, sorry.
I think there's quite a few poppy fields all over. But whatever's happening, obviously the Taliban were doing it correct, because the Western governments, they would like a lot of people on opioids because they're that much more easily led and plied. If people are sitting at home on some sort of like heroin derivative or something similar to that, it makes the Western countries that much easier to control.
That's right. And there's a massive problem with, what is it, this sort of synthetic opium type thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it is just...
Yes.
I think that's called hillbilly heroin over in the States, because all the medical services were churning it out relatively cheaply. Someone, I can remember, did a little write-up about how it costs you something silly like $600 for a saline drip, but hillbilly heroin was relatively a few cents.
Helen, how big a problem do we have in the UK now compared to, say, in the 80s, say, I think it was really bad. No, in places like Glasgow, I think there was in fact, I think it inspired train spotting. No, the kind of problems that there were.
I mean, health-wise.
Yeah, I was under the impression that basically we improved in terms of there was less of a heroin problem in the UK for 1 or 2 decades, and then as soon as we got into Afghanistan, has it got visibly worse?
Well, we can only go by what they put in the paper and put it out on the news, because you just don't know
what do you see as a nurse?
I do know that there are far more people on these drugs, like cocaine and whatever, and than there ever were. And there are a lot of deaths. And also they're mixing other things with these drugs before they use them. And they are toxic, really toxic.
Do you see many cases of synthetic opium?
Yes, that's right. Yes, you've got it. And
I think the massive problem, guys, sorry to interrupt, is the drugs that are given out on subscription. That, I mean, there is obviously problems with illicit drugs, the cocaines, the heroin, stuff like that. But
also
it's the ones that doctors are prescribing that are the real problem. Because it's seen to be, okay, because doctors prescribe them. There's so many sort of like problems that can be dealt with other stuff, meditation rather than medication.
Yeah.
And it's so easy now to go to a doctor's, tell them that you can't sleep or you're a little bit depressed, and that's your the slide onto the prescription drug.
Yeah.
Yes, you got it. And not only that, when the instructions are written in Arabic as well, I really get worried. I do. Yes.
Okay. Let's. Emma Ward says the whole situation with Fukushima is disgusting. TEPCO should be over the coals. That's the energy company, isn't it? Hey, James Cole. Emma Ward says the NWO. There's only one agenda: the New World Order. Emma Ward says we've been hammered today. This is with chemtrails she's referring to. Maureen, absolutely disgusting. And you need to be registered blind not to see it. And Chris Ford says that fracking is to go ahead in Lincolnshire. And yeah. Do you think UFOs are on coke to be buzzing up there? Lots of laughs, says John Middleton. And Paul Hart says the war on drugs was an explosion of drugs. Lots of laugh. They do the opposite of what they say. Yeah. So what else is going on? What are the distractions? These Catholic bishops, what's the deal with that? Anybody know? A whole load of them have said they're going to quit or something. They've asked the Pope to, accept their apologies or something. But I haven't heard anything about them being investigated by the police.
Sorry, some people have woken up to not having an imaginary friend.
Well, no, it's not that. They're all pedos or something, or 14 of them, or they were covering it up, and they've just basically, there was a big hoo-ha about it. I don't know if you remember, Francis popped down that way, and he was a bit belligerent about one guy who had been abusing and this and that, and he got into a bit of hot air, and then he sort of apologized for that or something. And now, just today, I'm trying to find it. The story will be here somewhere. Basically, Catholic Church, absolute in upheaval. They're very. Whenever the Pope tells us to accept migration or something like that, they put it on the front page. I can't find this story.
Amazing.
It's incredible. Catholic Church is just it's having a bit of a problem, isn't it?
I remember stumbling across a story not too long ago saying that the Pope and his pushing of not using contraception, that contraception is a sin, and therefore, pushing it to the African nations has caused widespread AIDS and probably makes the Catholic Church and the Pope more responsible for deaths than sort of like any other person or organisation. Which, when you think about it, the spread of AIDS for Africa and the death toll of it is probably going to be bigger than most other sort of single factors, especially in the region, if not in the world.
All Chile's 34 bishops offer to resign. And this is actually on BBC News. And it's on the Wall Street Journal. Have a look. Anyway, all of Chile's 34... There you go. You can see that now. Roman Catholic bishops have offered Pope Francis their resignations in the wake of a child sex scandal and cover-up. They've asked forgiveness from victims and the church for their grave errors and omissions. It was not immediately clear whether the Pope had accepted the resignations. He had been criticized in Chile for his decision to ordain a bishop who is accused of covering up sexual abuse committed by a priest. He said, well, the last Pope, wasn't that the case with him as well? He said in January that he felt pain and shame over the scandal, which has rocked the Catholic Church in Chile. It's the first time.
Not as much pain and shame as the kids, I suppose.
Yeah. But I mean, where's the police investigation? This Pope said he wouldn't let the police get involved to investigate alleged paedophiles in the Catholic Church. One of the first things he did when he became Pope. So I guess again they'll just try and keep this within their little club. No.
What would the devil say when they turn up on his doorstep, eh?
I tell you what, no comments on the BBC story. No comments on the BBC story. Guess what? Wall Street Journal, have they got any comments? Oh, I don't know. I think I have to pay to look at that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, right. I think, people, I have to say that it is very, very close to beer o'clock. So, but I'm not going to be able to do... Oh, hold on a sec. Oh, it's the truth. Yeah, I got to...
Can I share one thing with you guys?
Please do, Chris.
If you're not too bothered about the royal wedding, pop along to your local independent cinema and go and watch Deadpool 2. It's a blinder. Deadpool 2, if you like that sort of thing, funny, entertaining, much better than the royal wedding. Pop along to your local independent cinema tomorrow and watch Deadpool 2. Have a laugh and forget about all this royal wedding palaver and rubbish.
Yeah, Chrissy, it sounds good, but I've got to say, sawing your left leg off with a rusty spoon is probably more enjoyable than the royal wedding. So, it's not...
Exactly. Deadpool 2 is far superior to Harry and Meghan.
Most definitely.
Guys, have a nice beer. I love you all. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, Ollie.
God bless you, mate.
Cheers, Chrissy.
See you soon.
It's Friday night. I kind of was wondering about maybe doing Billy bonus. I don't know. What are you Axiom lot doing, Jeff?
I don't know. I went on there earlier and nobody was on there.
I don't know. Maybe I have a quiet one. Is Hive Mind on tonight? Is Dave Wolf on?
No idea, mate.
I don't suppose that Davey Russell's doing his show, is he? He reckons he's packing it up. Or packing up Motivate. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't, no.
Maybe he'll be doing a show tonight.
I heard that.
Did you hear him? Is he not? Is he doing a show tonight?
I don't know about doing a show, but I heard about the Motivate was they were packing that up.
It's a great pity. No? Yeah. We don't need less, we need more of this sort of stuff.
I think it could just be a rumour. A vicious rumour.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? I don't know if there's anything else. Maybe I won't do a Billy bonus. Look, I'll be back on Monday. 7. Yeah. So have a lovely weekend, everybody.
Sorry, because I finally found Discord.
Thank you, Helen. Lovely having you on here. Lovely.
I've enjoyed every minute. Yes.
Good.
I'm
Good.
shocked.
On, Ollie.
Thank you, Jeff. Predator Jeff. Thank you, and Chris Morris too. Thank you.
Okay, Ollie, have a nice weekend.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. Enjoy the wedding. Anyway, yeah, you watch the way they cover this weekend, people. You watch the way they frame the news and how they build it up and how they don't let it go into the internet next week. And here's, oh, blimey. Go on, Italy! Forza Italia! They're our best hope. Italy. This has been Daily Chaos. I'm Olly Connelly. I'll see you on Monday at 7. Here's to us and bugger plutocracy. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching. And hey, if you want to bung us a beer, please.
I would, but I don't do PayPal.
Somebody said they can't use PayPal. I'm sorry about that. But it's paypal.me/Brexit.
I would gladly send you some money for beers.
No. For crying out loud. Oh, blimey. Right, that's it. Cheerio. Have a wonderful weekend. Ciao, everyone.